The Brian Crabtree Show on Demand is brought to you by America's Benefit LLC. Comprehensive health care coverage for 30 to 60% less. OurPlanRocks.com. Catch Brian live in Atlanta afternoon starting at 4. On the air in Atlanta on Biz 1190. Streaming to the world on Biz1190.com.
Brian Crabtree. The Brian Crabtree Show.
All right, at Brian Crabtree on Twitter, Talk40.com. Pictures from the CNN protests. I posted a few of them up at Talk40.com over the weekend, so check that out. Plus more opinion and analysis. Auto insurance bills skyrocketing in Georgia, and the regulator here in Georgia, our commissioner of insurance, Ralph Hudgens, says he is powerless. Little he can do. Because of a law, according to him, passed a decade ago that makes it nearly impossible for the Georgia government to stop such increases. Now, for the record, Hudgens voted for that law while serving in the Georgia Senate. So he says there's little that he could do, but there's a lot he could have done. He even says he would still support that law. He has no regrets about supporting it. And basically, this is to make sure that you keep insurance groups whole. And I'm conflicted on it. Basically, what has to happen for your auto insurance rates or any kind of insurance of that matter to go up is for the insurance company has to apply, submit to certain standards, and prove that they actually need to increase the rates to keep their insurance funds whole. And you may not know this. Technically, insurance really isn't a business in and of itself. The business of insurance is actually investing the premiums in advance and earning a percentage off the premiums. If they make a little money between what they collect from you and what they pay out, then that's just gravy. But sometimes they lose money slightly on their premiums. Then they request a compensating increase. They prove that they lost the money. But where they made the money, where the profit really comes from, is it comes from actually the investment of those premiums. They collect your premium in advance for the entire 6 months of the year. They invest that money, and they purportedly don't have to pay out a claim for 4 months, 10 months, 9 months, or ever. And that's kind of how it works. So it's the totality of those collections. Now they've come up, for instance, Allstate last year, a stunning 25% average rate boost for the average Allstate car owner, and double-digit dips or jumps, that is, for just about everybody else. 2 increases a year have become routine in Georgia. The reason for this, shockingly, smartphones. That's one of them. It's also something of the socialization of and regulation of insurance and various different types of government oversight here. But when you have a bunch of irresponsible people getting in a higher number of wrecks, then what you end up having is you have a higher insurance premium for everyone, even if you've had a perfect driving record. So it's sort of what's happening in the auto insurance business because there's been an anomaly come in, especially with things like the technology. Technology on our dashboards, I think, contributes to it. I think that's deemed safer looking down at that screen, messing with your GPS or your touchscreen radio, as it used to be. You just had 4 or 5 buttons, you push one, right? Now we have all of this. We have a computer on our dashes, and then on top of that, we have a smartphone. People, 20, 30% of people in insurance surveys anonymously even admit they're to texting and driving. And you know, if that's the admission, the number is likely much higher. I bet it's 50% or more. And what that tells us is we have more accidents for that reason. Although not factored into this equation is the fact that we've seen DUIs and driving under the influence arrests go down, accidents resulting from those, because now we have ride-sharing apps like Uber and Lyft. But that's not enough to balance out the rest.
The Brian Crabtree Show on Demand is brought to you by America's Benefit LLC. Comprehensive health care coverage for 30 to 60% less. OurPlanRocks.com. Catch Brian live in Atlanta afternoon starting at 4. On the air in Atlanta on Biz 1190. Streaming to the world on Biz1190.com.